episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. I'm your host, Edward Anderson. Hold on one second, get this thing where I want it. Alright, make sure y'all filter in here. I know y'all see the title, so y'all probably on some what you talking about, like how I do. There's a generally when I'm for it, or it's just I'm being too lazy to actually come up with a title right now, in which I'll just say or dot 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 dot. But whatever. Anyway, shout out to everybody that basically pledged to the Patreon. I do appreciate that. That is not necessary, but I'm not gonna act like I ain't gonna take your money and ain't appreciate it. I will say that that's definitely, there's going to be exclusive content on the Patreon only. And I do want to let you, as far as on the Patreon video, like page, that'll be public. But I do want to let you know too, that for the folks that pledged, there'll be some exclusive stuff for you all that probably you don't hear me talk about anywhere else. That's going to be on Vimeo. So I'll make that exclusive for the Patreons. Because I do believe in giving you all something for your money, even if it's like $1 or something. Pledging is not necessary, but because like I said, the main thing with the Patreon is to segment a lot of these rants and stuff like that. So the way I want to kind of nip and tuck my channel, because I'm setting my check. This is what I'm doing. The channel is being, I know a lot of y'all don't see it yet. Y'all see little things as far as experiments when I show you. Sometimes I put the stuff in the fuck are you doing? Sometimes I see little stuff in the Discord or the Patreon. Well, obviously y'all know in the Telegram I'll put anything in there. But that don't count. That's only like said a personal thing at this point. But what I'm doing is I'm going to take a lot of the unlisted videos and right now you see me because I'm trying to make it so I'm consistently uploading. I don't want that to be like the Discord. Shout out to Ease and shout out to Smurgo because they keep that shit popping until I really dive into that. Really dive in. We've done a good job putting David Carroll's rabbit holes in there. So you all that want to get access to that when that comes out. David Carroll just launched one today, which was great. So there's a reason why that's there, and it's in. But if y'all want to play it, like I said, I'm gonna give y'all some stuff, and it'll probably be business related. It'll probably be marketing related. It'll be some deep marketing stuff that I'll put up there. It'll be some deep marketing stuff that I'll put up there. Like really, and when I say deep, I mean like practical, but like stuff you all haven't heard me talk about. Stuff that I actually charge some of my team for, like when I need to get their shit running. Folks have paid me like $150 a month through the products and services that I give. Because the way my stuff works is you basically buy a software or something that's a recurring payment, and then I get paid a certain amount of money for that. So that brings you into my team. And then obviously I want to get you going and know like it's not network marketing, it's affiliate marketing. But yeah, so I'll give y'all a lot of that, and there'll be exclusive trainings for that. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna do a lot of videos with that, but the ones I do will be fire. And I'll probably, it's gonna be some value there because I appreciate that. But that's why that's there. That's the Patreon's there so I can have a place to put stuff so y'all can still access it, and it's kind of done what it needs to do as far as views. And the thing about it is, and I'm kind of thinking about this as I'm saying it, the reality is the views don't count with YouTube. I'm gonna keep it real. I don't care about overall views. I really don't. Like, that's not something, let's be honest. What people really look for is they look for subscriber count, and then they generally look at your channel to see what, how much day-to-day, like, views you're getting. That's really what people look for. Most people don't really care about total view count. Because it really is not a true indication. Indicator, but not a big indicator. I think it's overblown. And when you unlist a video, those views don't count publicly. That's why it doesn't, like, technically I'm probably at 1.3 million views right now, but I can't show that because I'd have to list all my videos publicly. And there's different reasons. I have no problem with listing any video publicly. That's not why they're unlisted, because what'll happen is people will come across my channel and then it'll just so much stuff. And it's like they don't know where to start and know where to get in or any of that. And so as a result, they just, it's like being thrown in an ocean with no directions or anything like that. So I unlisted in order to kind of reset my channel, so to speak. And as you can see, some of my classics, my uploads, which I hope you all enjoying those. I try to give a description as to what they were. In fact, some of those thumbnails are actually really good. I need to get back to that. Let's see what is he doing? Fucking cops. So let me see. Try to give y'all a little primer until somebody bring y'all ass in here. Okay, we got enough people in here. So there's that. So I hope y'all enjoying it. Make sure you go to the Patreon. It's the website is patreon.edwardandersonspeaks.com. Or it might just be straight up the Edward Anderson Speaks. No, the Edward Anderson Speaks.com link, like, website takes you to my my link tree. So definitely go over there. Definitely go to all of my social media and stuff like that, because I am starting to get more back into Facebook, the Edward Anderson Facebook page. Understand, when y'all get on my main Facebook page, if I don't accept your friend request, that's my personal page, and there's a reason for that. The Edward Anderson Facebook profile is specifically for what we talk about here. So it's nothing personal. It's just I use that for my business. I use that for other stuff, personal stuff, my other business. So I don't really want to mix all of that in there, because there's a lot of non-black people in there too. And at the end of the day, it ain't about me standing on shit, but I'm not trying to explain shit. For what is understood doesn't need to be explained. So anyway, that's kind of some business stuff. So let's jump right into the topic. We got about 50 of y'all in here. Make sure you get the likes up. Much appreciated. Y'all know Cash App. Y'all know all of that. So anyway, how black men fail at protection. When I say fail, I mean have failed and failed today. Failed till this very day actively. So this is not how black men failed in protection. How they fail, past, present, probably future. And I'm sure y'all are interested in what I have to say on this, because it sounds like some shit Cynthia G, or one of the bitches, will put out. But there's a legitimate reason for me putting this out. So one of the things that I often talk about is I talk about how black men have a certain, they have viewpoints that basically give them blind spots. You can't protect what you don't see. And part of what you don't see is not, with your physical eyes, but it's like a mental thing. Like, for instance, let's say you buy a car and you start noticing all the cars that look like your car. Sorry. Same color or same model, right? You didn't notice them before. Why? Because your brain is filtering out that information. Your brain is filtering that information because it has been programmed through socialization, through the repeated patterns of what it has seen. Like, for instance, all of your 5 senses, eyes, touch, eyes, ears, see, hearing, touch, taste, smell. These are basically, they're receivers for your brain to receive data. And as a result, your brain processes information based on that. Certain things take priority, such as danger, such as fear, which, danger is fear. And it gets pushed to the forefront, flexes. But all of this is responses that your brain gets based on the images it has been shown. And then, the reptilian part of the brain, which is instinct, right? Which doesn't really require socialization. This So, and we're not even gonna get into trance. Like I'm driving right now because I've driven. I'm used to driving. We know first time we drove versus or the first time we got on the bike. Sorry about that. My throat needs to be cleared. Shout out to Jesse for the $20 super sticker. I super chat. Appreciate it. So your brain, so this is where we get into more complicated things like you being able to perceive threats or to perceive potential threats just not to your direct person, but maybe the people that are under your purview. Maybe it's kids, maybe it's relatives, whatever. Maybe you're a teacher, maybe you're an authority, whatever, leader, whatever. And that's a little bit more complicated. It's more of a thing. Now, I just got done listening to David Carroll. David Carroll put together a really good rabbit hole, and there's a video in there, and I might copy the video and put it on in the Discord for you all to see it. But if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So I'm not gonna cover it. But if you haven't, go to the Discord, get the rabbit hole. Not the YouTube one, but the rabbit hole, and then look at it. It's in the first one. He plays it over and over. And I just want to let y'all know that's there. But when it comes to perceived threats, if you're socialized to not see something as a threat, you're not going to see it as a threat. Unless you have a personal thing as to why you've been told, your body is communicated to you why this is a threat. Let me give you a perfect example. A female threatening violence on you, most of the time, dudes don't perceive that as a threat. This is why women make excellent spies. This is why women can run up on you. This is why women can run up on you. This is why women can hit you with 2x4s and shit. This is why women can tap you on the face and then y'all don't do shit. Because if a dude taps you on the fucking face, it doesn't matter if it doesn't hurt. There's going to be instant response because of the disrespect alone. The disrespect alone is enough for dudes to kill other men. And we know that. And even normal dudes that are not killers, if I tap you in the fucking face, you're going to have to hit me. You're going to have to hit me. If you miss the first time, you're going to land at least once. It ain't going to stop. It ain't going to be no, what the fuck is wrong with you, all that bullshit. This is why women can hit y'all with 2x4s and shit like that. Is that simple enough for you, Smurgo? Because when a woman hits you, depending on if you're bigger, y'all think that shit's funny. Now, I'm 5. Now, let's be clear here. I'm 5'5". It doesn't matter if you all are 6 feet. If I hit you just off the disrespect alone, it don't matter, oh, that's a little nigga. No, just off the disrespect alone for me to even try to hit you, even if I don't try to hit you in your face, you're going to do something. Now, depending on who you are, you may, like, you're a military trained person or something like that, you may not, but it's still going to be a reaction because it's not the size. It's about you were taught that a female, you don't hit females no matter what they do. This is why when I said what I said on Shannon shit, you had females in the chat trying to talk about, oh, you're advocating violence against women, as if violence has not already been started on that man. You see what I'm saying? So my point is, dudes have blind spots based on socialization. And shout out to Kendra with her, lost moral value system. There's like a concept called, gynocentric views. You could argue values. And if you've been socialized by a single mother, meaning, I've said this before, you view black men through the eyes of a single mother. David Carroll said you view men through the eyes of a black bitch. Whether it's your mother, your aunt, whatever. This is why dudes tend to automatically be able to easily assume men are threats. Men are threats. Men are predators. No, this is not designed to defend Clinton Cameron. But we understand that it's very easy for black men to get there when it comes to a man as a predator. But a woman is always perceived to be a victim, because part of gynocentric views are this what I call the system of the gynocracy views or values are that nothing a woman does is her fault. It's either, and even if it is directly her fault, indirectly something happened to her to make her go bad, because girls are sugar and spice and everything nice, and they have to be corrupted in order to not be that. Now, boys don't get that same latitude. This is why everybody, even though people can think R. Kelly is a monster, nobody really acknowledges or really investigates, did his sister really molest him? Now, people just accept that, but they accept it as if that's not an excuse for R. Kelly. Well, it's not an excuse to hold R. Kelly accountable. But when you look at the concussive effect that R. Kelly did, let me give you an example from a nerd point of view. When you look at the fact that Darth Sidious Walker, the dark side, and the whole time he was basically there, everything Anakin did, even going up to being Darth Vader. Now, there's other factors that happened too that helped drive him, but the guiding force was Darth Sidious, Emperor Palpatine. Everything that Anakin did, and this is going to the title of the video, so rock with me. Everything that Anakin did, or including once he became Darth Vader, that was bad, usually Sidious had a hand in it. Sidious gave him the directive to kill the Jedi. Sidious gave him directive to kill other people in the Empire. You know, who knows how long Sidious would have lasted had Vader not really been there. And so people want to look at Vader as Vader is the bad guy. But the reality is the real catalyst was who people could not see, which was Sidious. And just because he's the one that set Anakin in motion to be that. And that was the difference between him being a shining hero throughout his entire life and being what he ended up being. Now, this is not to take Anakin or Darth Vader off the hook for what he did, which is why Princess Leia never forgave him, because at the end of the day, Darth Vader tortured him, and it didn't matter. He wasn't buying that. She wasn't buying that bullshit about, oh well, I fell to the dark side, because Leia understood the Force, but she didn't want to understand it that much. She would think that was forgivable. Now Luke forgave it because Luke had his own directives, his own thing. Leia wasn't pulling that shit. This is why there's a story in the Legends trilogy where Anakin tried to talk, as a Force ghost, tried to talk to Leia once, and then Anakin tried to pull well, I'm not gonna show up again, you know, because this is like my last thing. And she said, well, bye motherfucker, bye nigga, is basically what she said, like for real. And people forget, you know, and Luke wasn't tortured by Darth Vader. Yeah, he got his arm cut off, but that's in the heat of battle. Leia was actually tortured. People forget that. And so she has every right to think what she wants to think. Well, my point is, all that stuff was set in motion. This is not to absolve the responsibility of like an R. Kelly at all. But you have to look at the things around it. You cannot try to say, if you really are interested in solving the problem, in this case, this would be the problem of young folks being manipulated to make, because this is what black people really want to say, that any of these motherfuckers they're not making decisions. It's fame and all of that is making a decision for them. That's an argument that can be made. But see, where people try to take it away from R. Kelly is they like to talk about this concept of grooming, which is R. Kelly groomed them. Actually, R. Kelly didn't groom them. Actually, they were already groomed by their parents to even believe and in the trust of their parents. Most of the females R. Kelly dealt with were brought to him, or he came across. He didn't actively. Yeah, some of y'all can say he showed up at the high school and all of that, but a lot of these motherfuckers were brought to him. Meaning it wasn't just him. That trust of that parent was required. And that's what everybody wants to kind of let go. That's one. Two, when you look at his sister, see, dumbasses, the people with low IQs, they want to say, well, you try to let R. Kelly off the hook. Because in their minds, it's got to be one or the other. In their minds, it can't be both. It has to be one or the other. It has to be, it's either all. Remember what I've always told you all. In the minds of the guy, in the system of gynocracy, it's either all his fault or all your fault. That's how women view it. And that's how men as an extension view it. It can never be, okay, this is where the blame is here and here, because we need to solve the overall issue. No, it's got to be all his fault or all her fault, and that's a convenient way of making it all his fault, because we don't want to accept any blame. This is why women are very quick, and men, to say you're blaming all black women or you're blaming women, because in their minds, none of it is their fault. Because if you ask them, okay, so you're saying none of this is her fault, they may say no, because they're trying to protect their credibility. If you then say, okay, so what part of it is, then they go back to you're blaming women again. Then they'll try to deflect to where's the men at fault. Fuck the fact that men are held more accountable than any other group. Fuck any of that shit. That shit don't matter. What matters is you're blaming women. And that's what they want to stick to, because, you know, these people can only juggle like one idea at a time. They can't talk about layered ideas. This is why motherfuckers are always questioning your fucking IQ. Now, I say that just to piss you off, but the reality is a lot of you all's emotional intelligence is really not there. It's really not. And this is why you all want to get swept up in emotions of quote-unquote protection. So I'm leading up to the main thing. But the point is, when people use terms like grooming, they don't know what it really means. Because you're imprinted and groomed by a lot of different factors. A whole recipe of ingredients to create the overall outcome. I've said it before. Social media probably has a more hand in grooming these kids than their parents do. Because most of their parents is absent, or the way the kids were put together were not, you know, these kids are being maintained. And now, before, you didn't have the kind of network shit that you have now. Video games were not online. Got to remember that. Video games were not online. Social media was not a thing. If it was a thing, you had to be on a physical computer, which, you know, that was relatively expensive. So kids didn't have the ability to be on that shit all day, every day, right? The shit wasn't in front of them with their phone, always by them, like a fucking Jiminy Cricket. The network never leaves you. Why do you think these fucking companies are worth as much as they are? And we've always talked about how, well, mobile internet and internet sales and all of that. We're here now. We're here. 20 is over. The 2010s are over. That was the transition period. Now, the 2020s is going to be people who are pretty much born in this shit. Because you're dealing with people that were born in like 2005 or 2010 and 2000. Their entire like pubescent life is internet. Now you're going to start dealing with people where they were from birth. From birth. To they only know this shit. Give you an example. Chloe Bailey. Chloe Bailey's 23 years old. That means Chloe Bailey was what, 12? 11 in 2010? Think about that. Now think about how she is acting. Kind of, and then part of it is she's 23, but like how she's got this like moth to light to this whole shit. Think about that. There's a reason that stuff is the way it is. But going back to the topic, you got the men, black men, and we can argue this, but I'm talking specifically about black men and the dynamics in the black community. They have these blind spots. Their view on protection is, I gotta protect. Here's the truth. A lot of their views on protection is misandrous in nature. They have a gynocratic code. You can say value system. I'm not trying to steal like Kendra's verbiage, but I mean, value system is not, you know, that's, you know, but they got a gynocentric value system. They do. And those values tell them men are a threat. Men can only be the threat. And because, like I said before, women are not a direct threat to a man's person. This is why women have to operate with what Dr. T.S.I. Johnson see violence, men men don't perceive women as indirect threats to the people that men are charged with protecting or their care. So men don't perceive women as threats to other women. This is why when you see it, when a man sees women getting her ass whooped by other women, a man does not immediately really know what to do. Most men, most black men, because to them, they don't see that as a direct threat. So there's a hesitation as to what to do. Now, instantly, you know what they're going to fucking do if they see a man even thinking about he might hit a woman. But when that shit goes out and women are arguing or hollering and it looks like violence is going to happen, they don't do nothing until something actually pops up. And even if it does pop up, they have this like weight or hesitation on it. I'll even give you an example. When a lot of dark-skinned women, I'm going to just say it, I'm not saying this I always have it, slices up light-skinned women's faces, that happens because a lot of dudes are not really, even if a dude is present, they have this like hesitation because they haven't been socialized as to how to really address that. Because they know, they've been socialized that only black men are only men are threats. That's it. And the reason why I keep saying black men is because we are around each other more. Only men are threats. Only black men are threats. Women can not be a threat. This is also why when you look at sexual assault and you look at sexual protecting of these people's innocence, these guys have complete blind spots to women. They cannot have a conversation with you. If we were going to have a conversation about, if we talk about what are threats to a female, let's talk about just the females. What is a threat to a female's sexual innocence or person? They're going to name a whole bunch of niggas. They will not name a bitch. They will not name older women pimping these females. They will not talk about how women in this gynocentric community is very they are very impressionable to other females because they've been taught nothing a female does is wrong. If an older female is doing it, it must be right. It must not be wrong. This is why I keep telling you all, Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion are much more devastating than like teaching these women this whole shit than Uncle Luke, because at least you could say, oh well, that Uncle Luke is exploiting women. You can't really say another woman is exploiting women. You can't make that argument. That argument has not been pushed. So if you say it, it's not going to register in the same way. So at some level, you're going to think it's wrong because you're going to associate it with somebody like Uncle Luke or Trick Daddy exploiting women. You don't really see that. You don't see that in women. So women think it's okay, which means they're more likely to emulate it because women don't really have a real sense of morals. They don't have a sense of limits. So you're always going to have dudes push, like you could have a Lil Nas X doing the crap he's doing. There's always going to be dudes who push back against that for a variety of reasons. But women will actually sync up because women want to be a part of the group. Women don't tend to want to have an independent thought. They don't want to be outside of the group, which is why you don't see a lot of women really speaking from an honest place against a lot of this bullshit that women know harms other black women as well as black women as a reputation. Damn, what they think about the men. They know this shit fucks black women up when it comes to getting mates. This fucks women's ability. This harms black women's ability to get the best reproductive mates, regardless of what race it is. So black men don't think about that. They don't think about that shit. They also don't think about how the influence amongst black women and their peers. Now, granted, a lot of these dudes grew up thinking, okay, dudes peer pressured women. But the reality is women today are peer pressuring women in the sex, and the women and then the dudes are just there to facilitate it. And yeah, they get the benefit, but at the end of the day, they're being peer pressured by other females. You see this you even see this in a lot of homosexual activity with females. You see this. It's the pressure. Don't be a square, a female version of a square. Don't be this, don't be that. And it's the entire women. And all of them may not agree. But what happens is they go with what the whole bitches out looking at these niggas. You gotta look at both. And I don't want to hear no fucking, oh, well, we are doing it because, and you don't know because you don't got kids. Because when you look at how black women talk, it's surveys that have told you a lot of black women have had lesbian experiences. A lot of black women have been touched. What they don't tell you, a lot of that touching has to do with the females too. See, they always frame that. See, those questions about being assaulted is not just have you been assaulted by men. It's about have you been assaulted or touched at all. And that's where people but they just assume it's men. When you have when you have 1 in 3 of your people having lesbian experiences at a very young age. But see, and again, everything that I say, dumbass motherfuckers are going to see this as I'm trying to deflect. No, I'm trying to add on, you stupid motherfucker. I'm adding on threats. There is no, there's a finite level of threats that I can pay attention to. So we need to just focus on this. And no, I'm adding threats. I'm letting you know that in today's world, the threat ain't just for one way. And so stop having an over focus on one way and then you're compensating for not seeing it the other way. When you're when you look at take a Sha'Carri Richardson, for example. That granted, Sha'Carri Richardson came out of a certain household. She was probably destined to have 304 behavior. But the thing is, you could see when Sha'Carri Richardson was first starting to run and when she just completely flamed the fuck out under the gay shit. A lot of this homosexuality amongst female bias anyway, and it's really just 304 culture in another name. That's all it really is. And they just try to use the protection of you should accept this because you're not accepting you must be homophobic if you don't accept all of this wild shit. And that may be true. But the reality is that's besides the point. And so when you see a picture when she's doing bright red hair or bright orange hair, she thinks that's a good way of representing. She don't even feel like because she's not representing black people. She's representing that 304 culture. All these tattoos, losing, being a loser. And there was dudes in her, dudes that helped train her. All of this, I'm going to sell my soul completely down the 304 track. That was all the coven, the Benny Gesserit coven of bitches, basically in her ear. Don't listen to that nigga. He don't know what he talking about. These are dudes that put a lot, like her trainer, her coach. These are dudes that put a lot of time into her that are not related to her and all of that because these dudes want to see her be successful. And she basically listened to all them bitches. All them bitches. Because at the end of the day, that's what they do. And they get completely corrupted. And dudes just put their hands well, what are you going to do? Because in their eyes, there's nothing they can do. Because in their eyes, they don't see nothing wrong with it. Not really. Because women are allowed to destroy other women. That's their purview. They don't get as upset about that. I bring up Frank again. Frank literally said on the lead attorney show when they had that Dr. Dre situation, when lead attorney asked him, if your daughters killed your grandkids, would you forgive her? And he said no. He said he would. Because he wanted to use the Bible. I'm telling you he wouldn't believe the same shit if a dude did that. I know that. I put $1,000. I put I'll say 100. That he will not get on there and say, if a man were to kill his granddaughters, murder them, he would forgive them. I don't believe that. I don't believe he'd even say it. Which means that clearly there's a gender bias there, which is the point. Morality is not supposed to have, if you're really being moral, then the shit is supposed to balance out two ways. And by the way, that's just him talking. And he has a right to talk. What about the dude that literally his son got killed, and I mean tortured and killed? You put a bullet in his leg, let him feel that shit, and then you came back and put two in between his eyes over a fucking USB. And then he said, but she was a good mother. You can say she's mentally ill, but for you to say she's a good mother, that's insanity. Where was that little boy's protection with that mentality? Now, when you hear black people talk about black men failing to protect, what they talk about is the biggest thing black men have failed to protect the future generations from is that black bitch. That is the biggest thing. And that's why when Smurgo makes his little, even though, I don't agree with him all the way, when he makes these jokes about if you have a kid with a black womb, they're a criminal and all that shit. I mean, he's being hyperbolic, but there is some point to that. A lot of y'all are like straight up. And it's not just, it's the mentality behind it. And this is, black women will never say that black men need to protect us from ourselves. You will never hear black women say that. Because if they're saying that, then by definition, they're demonstrating that they have more rights than what they're able to do shit as a mechanism of chaos. Black women are put in the position they are for one reason only, to create chaos and engineer it. That's it. That's the only reason why they benefit what they benefit. Because you notice if they go anywhere else to pull that bullshit, the same levers of power fuck them over. You notice you rarely hear black women getting a whole bunch of money out of non-black men as far as husbands when it comes to divorces. Shout out to Robert De Niro. You know why? Because they're not going to allow you to use their system to harm other non-black white men. They're not going to let you do that. They're not going to let you do that. You don't get those same privileges a white woman might get. That's how you know that shit is bullshit, if for nothing else than for that. And these women know it. This is why you rarely see these women trying to get divorced. You see it with that damn white comic. They always want to act like he black. And his wife basically helped him say nigga and get away with it. Now she want to divorce him, and she try to get all his money, and she's trying to pull the same tactics. O'Shea's covered it a few times, so is Jada Black. She's trying to pull the same nigga ain't shit tactics. I'm like, that don't work on no white man. That's when you get your black bitch wake up call, and you realize in this society you ain't nothing but a black bitch. So you're not going to be able to pull that shit. It don't matter how many kids he had with you. It don't matter that you helped him. It don't matter that nigga was broke and then you provided a home because you wanted that doesn't matter. It doesn't. You knew what you were playing with when you were playing with. Just like with Karen, it doesn't matter that you made more money. None of that matters. We all know that y'all are not getting ready-made white dudes. For the most part, Eve is like a shining exception to this rule. We know, or technically that motherfucker already had kids out of him. She was just being add on his, even though he had money. We know y'all gotta build a white Mike. We know this. We know this. We know this. And that bullshit that Cynthia G, by the way, keeps saying, I use white men for money. Bitch, fuck you. Nobody for nothing. And even if you got away with that at maybe at one time in your life, you know good and goddamn well, and you ain't getting away with that now. So shut the fuck up. So you use white men for money, but you are willing to go from one side of the country to the other side of the country to basically get a baby out of somebody. This is the same Dusties you talk about every day. You seem to have more reverence for than these white dudes, but you talking about get an abortion. Everybody knows, please get the fuck out of here, man. But whatever, people have a right to believe what they want to believe. But anyway, going to my point. When people talk about protection, the biggest thing that black men have failed to protect black people from is from black women. Because fundamentally, black men are too busy trying to save black women and not recognizing that if a black woman registers as a threat, they need to be treated like such. Meaning they need to be isolated. They need to be removed from the group. You need to remove yourself. And if you can't remove from the group, you then remove yourself from that group. Because that group is corrupted. And that includes your own family. Once something, it's like the fucking flood from Halo. Once a planet falls into flood infestation, you burn the whole planet down or you get the fuck away from the planet. That's what you do. And this is one of the reasons why I do support SYSBM. Because there is no, well, we just need to deal with it because we all we got. No, fuck that. Fuck that. That is not true. The truth is we accept that shit because you all are hoping these women are gonna find religion. And everybody suffers because a lot of you niggas will not stand. You have these exaggerated reactions towards what men do because at the end of the day, and then the women go along with that. So now you got like 75% of the group because men have decided the morality to me is what that bitch wants. That's really where y'all morality or North Star is. It's what that bitch wants and what that bitch feels comfortable with. This is why when women get like like they're upset or annoyed or and they try to do the black bitch bullshit, whether it's the momming shit, whether it's to try to use they have this moral credibility. They want to use they want to use whatever they want to use to try to say I outrank you because you're just a boy in their minds. And this could be true. I've seen people talk to Kevin this way that are like 20 years old. You become that boy because that's that slave shit. That's that I'm going to pull the rank that the white man gave me. These will be the same people to talk about like they understand white supremacy, but you can't understand white supremacy and then understand that a matriarch is a very necessary thing in the matriarch is literally like they're literally like the head in the black community. So if you are a matriarch, by definition, you are a white supremacist. The matriarch is the Darth Vader to that white man's Darth Sidious. They go hand in hand. That is the Sith master. That is the Sith apprentice. And what are black women known for? Coveting power. They are forever coveting power that white man has. They want to be in that white bitch's position. Now they can create a whole bunch of things that they put on the surface to bury that shit. But when you are a matriarch, that is what you are. The only purpose of a matriarch is to hold down the fort if absolutely necessary until men can take the fuck over. And you should be wanting to turn those keys over as soon as you're able to turn the keys over. That is the only point of a matriarch. If you don't believe me, look at Dune. If you understand the history of Dune and you understand Lady Jessica's situation, her situation was, or even her daughter's situation, the Children of Dune. Shout out to Green Gorilla. Definitely check that out for the reviews. Even though technically these chicks came from a matriarch organization, Jedi's matriarch. You're not gonna tell me that shit ain't based on no black bitches. Females that know how to choose the sex of their women, choose the sex of their children. They have so much physical control of their bodies, they can influence the sex of their children to a guarantee. And they're only instructed to have daughters with these dukes. And then these women got a power where they can use the thing called the voice to make a motherfucker do what the fuck they want to do. Nigga, you ain't gonna tell me that ain't based on no black bitches. You're not gonna tell me. In fact, if they were real straight, they should have did some trailers on that. They probably would have got more black women in the damn theater. Just do a voiceover with the black female and then show an example of what the voice was. You'll get some, you would have got some more thick chicks in there. I definitely hope they do a part 2. Or do some shit where you put Zendaya in there and then she doing a voiceover for the voice. But anyway, my point is, the biggest thing that black men don't like protect other black people from is the dumb shit that black women do. We go along with it. And it's in what you don't say. So y'all make people like me or David Carroll or other people look like these absolute bad guys. All y'all do is talk about women. We wouldn't have to do that if folks were actually calling proper balls and strikes. Well, why don't y'all talk about the men? I'm talking about men right now. I'm talking about how men have blind spots and they willingly have them. But why don't you talk about, and why don't you hold men accountable? Society holds black men accountable. Black men, y'all make it sound like black women and black men are equally held accountable in the community or in this society. We know that's true. There's more black men in prison than women in America than women in prison on the planet. There is nobody held accountable more in this world, in this country, we'll say this country, than the African American man. Period. So when people are trying to play that 50-50 bullshit, that's an emotional thing. Now, what's the solution? Well, the solution is black men need to start they need to recognize that this gynocentric moral belief system bullshit is guides a lot of how they view the world. And then they need to understand that and recognize that is the first step in starting to see threats that they might not see. That's straight up. You know, if you got daughters, you need to recognize a fast little bitch. And when I say a fast little bitch, I'm not talking about your daughters, but if your daughters are friends with a fast little bitch, you need to recognize that just as much of a threat as a dude trying to fuck your daughter, because it is. Because that fast little bitch is gonna present her with a lot of, especially if you can tell she can get boys. A boy crazy bitch is going to attract a lot of suitable, genetically suitable men that your daughter might end up fucking. That's a problem. That's a problem. And she's not going to recognize, women don't recognize fast little girls as threats. Females don't, that are that age. They don't do that. Make sure y'all get the likes up. It's 145. We gotta let's get over 100. I'm almost finished this video. That's the thing. So my point is, black men choose to have these blind spots. It is of different ages. I've seen it. Like, you see black men. This is why I did the series, and I'm gonna start making this stuff more formal series. What can black women do to be unforgiving? Because in the eyes of a black man, there's nothing that a black woman can do that a black man won't forgive. To be completely honest, the truth is, a lot of these niggas don't even give a fuck about paternity fraud like that. To me, that's one of the most evilest things you can do, is make a man believe that children are his. This is why I keep saying paternity should just be established just off rip. If these bitches can get pills, fucking birth control pills out of the government, then they should be able to fucking get, we should be able to get that. But you got dudes that don't really believe that. And these are the dudes that will tell you that they're the moral dudes. They're the ones that are they're the more moral gods, because in their eyes, their sense of morality is based on their perception of them protecting females. That's what it's based on. It's a perception. And this is why these dudes always have these exaggerated, like, emotional outbursts when it comes to shit men are doing. Because they're trying to make up for what they clearly know they're lacking in. And a lot of this shit is why it goes down, and to the point where black girls suffer under this shit. But dudes don't care, because again, it doesn't emotionally register with them like that. Because they are blind spots. They really believe that women should just handle that. Now, I'm talking particularly ADOS culture, because I can't speak for other people across the diaspora. I'm talking particularly ADOS culture, and I'm also talking, this is a big reason why ADOS black women don't always do well with non-ADOS black men. Because non-ADOS black men have a different social momentum. They've been socialized differently. Black women are not used to being checked by anybody other than a white man. And so nobody can really check them. Really, nobody can check them other than non-black men. All right, y'all. I'm finished. That's my video for today. Like I said, make sure y'all hit up the Cash App. See all y'all in here. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Shannon, I appreciate it, but I'm not a master teacher. I don't want no niggas jumping on me about that. I'm a nigga with an opinion. And the value that people find in that opinion, I definitely appreciate, but I am not. And the reason why I say I'm not a master teacher, because I am not at the level at which, the teacher. I'm just somebody that I observe the observable world, and I know how to speak it out. So I appreciate that, but nobody nigga, oh, this nigga think he a master teacher. I hate these. That's what they do to BGS. Now, I do consider BGS a master teacher. Do I call him that? No. But, yeah. So, but appreciate that, Shannon. And appreciate you for being, as fair and balanced as you can be. Kudos. Make sure y'all check out Shannon's channel, because Shannon is definitely, BGS has actually been on there a few times. So if that's not an endorsement, I don't know what is. Shout out to Hybrid Ninja. I'm listening. Smurgo. And as always, Ray. Charles Merchant. Bench 250. I need to get there. Charles Irving. Monsters are created. But see, nobody wants to have that conversation about R. Kelly. So what that bitch did on some Antoine Fisher bullshit pretty much set the stage for all of those dominoes. But nobody wants to really talk about that, because they want to make it's all R. Kelly's fault. Okay, R. Kelly's in jail. Now let's talk about how that shit happened so it doesn't happen again. So we can take off, no, ain't nothing to talk about. Oh, y'all don't want to talk about that. Exactly. Because these women want the right to be able to do the bullshit they do. Ooh. Pull this out. All right. Go through y'all comments. Internet marketing. Yeah, I'm definitely going to talk about that. And I'm going to put a focus on how to get started in it, different mindsets and stuff with the internet marketing thing on the Patreon. So a woman can't, yeah, that's not true. A woman can shoot you. A woman can shoot you. A woman, not only can a woman physically hurt you, a woman can actually get away with it. Are more likely, we know they're not going to get charged the same way. So y'all can sit there. I'm not saying you should be walking around here scared of women, but y'all are in relationships that have a lot of domestic violence in them, and y'all stay in these relationships, and then when you actually do something to a female because a female hits you in the nuts or does something crazy, now all of a sudden you've been whooping her ass the whole time. So just because a woman is not stronger than you does not mean a woman cannot get you fucked up on the proxy side of it. A woman can lie on you. A woman can get other dudes to fuck with you and try to regulate you and their family. Like, y'all are, like, honestly, when I hear dudes that tell me, well, a woman can't physically hurt you, to me, that's stupid. Because you all are only looking at, again, blind spots. Blind spots. And you're in this society. A woman can hurt you just off the strength of her word. And you got black men that will deal with non-black women, white women in particular, and then they'll act like they're just the most comfortable. And I'm not talking about older school black men like BGS talks about. I'm talking about dudes that are like millennials and down, because you all have been socialized, especially the younger ones. Y'all been socialized and we all in this together. And then that white woman always has that card she can pull. A white woman at any point can say, help, this man raped me. And a lot of things are going to happen before, unless a woman outwardly says she lied. And by the way, if she says she lies, that doesn't necessarily mean she's going to get locked up. Like what happened with April Mason's cousin when she filed a false police report. If she got charged or put in jail or arrested for that, a white woman wouldn't be. But see, because you all don't perceive that shit, this is why a lot of black folks, men, are manipulated, because you know, because what other groups know is you may not be stronger than black men. You can outmaneuver black men very easily. In this, as far as intelligence, black men are smart as anybody else. The problem is black men have been socialized to not value their intelligence. So you're taking, and that's, you can thank your mothers for that. So your intelligence is not only not valued, it's actually devalued. Make sure y'all get the likes up. Let's get over 100. Kareen, not Karen, you can tell what age you are when you refer to Star Wars prequels. I notice most millennials refer to prequels instead of the original. Well, I refer to the, well, I watch both. I watched the original way before. I mean, obviously they came out, but I got VHS tapes, and I'm not talking about burnt VHS tapes. I'm talking about VHS tapes of all the originals. So I saw the originals, but I know the whole story, so I can bring it all together. How old was I? I was 13 years old when Phantom Menace came out. I remember that shit too, boy. They thought that was the shit. Nothing ever really caught the Phantom Menace. I remember the Phantom Menace marketing campaign. But that's true what you're saying, Kareem. But like I said, you saw how I didn't even see the chat. So you saw how I brought that back to Leia torturing him about her torture being tortured by Vader, which is different. The truth is, Luke. Well, they're expanding the universe a little bit more with the fucking comics and stuff, the canon. But exactly, Harbiners and other women did bring girls to R. Kelly. And all of that, and people talk about it, but ain't nobody gonna do nothing about it because nobody really cares. They think flushing R. Kelly, oh, this is why I'm like, okay, so you charge him with trafficking. So he didn't traffic himself. By definition, he didn't do it himself. So unless you got people actively snitching on R. Kelly that actually were involved in doing it, which I would be cool with that, because at least that way we can get some tangible evidence that happened, and it not, we know it happened, but it can't be some, oh, well, people want to act like it really didn't happen. They won't explore the monster behind the monster because they know where that leads, because we all know who most of these kids are being raised by. And yes, a lot of like Black R. Kelly. Yeah, don't even get me started on that, because that's been like uncovered. Yeah, she did look normal. That's why I showcased that in in one of my videos. She did look normal. She had a tattoo here and there on her arm, but she looked normal. And then with all that flame shit, that's what happens when a bitch gets turned the fuck out. And the reality is nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody, and see, this is why when niggas talk about, oh man, you create the very women you complain about. You create single mothers. Most of these niggas are not creating single mothers. It's either you ain't getting no pussy because you ain't got no kid, or you create the single mothers you complain about. Is that talking two sides out your ass? What about these hoes sexually turning these females out? Y'all ain't got no fucking smoke, because that ain't happening as far as y'all concerned. Double standards do go both ways, Kareem, but the difference is with the double standards in men are held accountable for the state makes up for those double standards. Well, men can have multiple kids or multiple women. Well, first of all, that's not be considered a hoe. Well, that's a double standard because the females allow that, because females see that as a sexually virile man. So they don't care. This is why when women like to talk shit saying, oh, I don't want men that have kids, that's bullshit. These women are actively having sex with these dudes. Now, maybe they don't want that for a long-term relationship. I'll give them that. But these dudes are not being denied sexual access. A man doesn't give a fuck about being in a relationship with you anyway. If you give a man sexual access, he's got what he wants from you. The relationship has zero value. I'm talking about romantically if you're not getting sex. Because at that point, you're an expense. And then you're an expense for nothing. You're just an expense. You might as well be setting money on fire. Women, so this idea when women say, I don't want to be in a relationship with a man that's got kids, that's really bullshit, because the truth is women will still have sex with these men. And this is where I know women are being very disingenuous when they have these conversations. And some things I purposely don't say, and I purposely don't highlight, just to see if people are still saying it or if they're ever going to bring it up. Shout out to Flip Cool. Kareem says, in all communities, you see how they cover the white girl that died and now her boyfriend died. It's hardly mentioned. Yeah. But, they do that. But the difference between the white community and the black community is there is the propaganda that the white community promotes, which is protect the white woman at all costs. And then there's what goes down in real life and the power dynamics in real life, which is not the same as in black people. Now, granted, white people have their own problem because white people are dealing with feminism as a class warfare tool. Gary Owens is who you were talking about. Yeah, Gary Owens, who I was talking about. And this female wants this black chick wants to be like, oh well, I had to take care of you, I carried you. I said that bitch, you still a black bitch, you still a nigger. That's all he really got to say or communicate. Because she actually, and she's saying that because she feels some type of way, but she know nobody cares. Black men ain't gonna care. Black women ain't gonna do shit. Because they not gonna really help you jump on Gary Owens, and white people don't care. So you're on your own. You're on your fucking own. And black women understand that. What's up, Ease? What's up, Son is a Hot Rod? Black women created that mind. Yep. It was sad, Mick Drama Bear. Unfortunately, black, you got to show these things and live and in real live in color. Otherwise, black people are going to fall into denialism. Shout out to LV Mott. Saw this point on the new U season. The new U season. Yeah, it is on steroids in the black community. All this stuff happens in varying dynamics. The white community falls into this liberalism, and then there's different versions. There's the white community you see, and then there's like y'all usually talk about the liberal white community. You all are usually not talking about the conservative white community, because in the conservative white community, this shit doesn't fly. So, all right, I can tell there's different versions of the white community you all are talking about. The shit that we're talking about permeates every part of the black community. Crimson Kier went in about the cougar stuff earlier. All right, glad you pointed that out, CJM. I mean, because when I listen to Kendra, I listen to her stuff at 2-point playback speed, so I could easily jump through her videos. I don't know. It's just the way she talks that I can listen to it at 2.5 and still get everything she's saying. So, black men still say that the 92% of black men, non-black, out of wedlock kids, like, I don't know, man. Yeah, women, yeah. I don't even know what to say to that. Will I R, what's up? Urban Nomad, I heard a black woman banning her kids and ran off with bottom show breath. I mean, the only thing a black woman can do that's like taboo in the black community is abandon her kids. That's the only thing, that's the only thing that universally black. I don't understand. And the reason why black people get upset about that is because mama is the matriarch. And these like, you're dealing with a generation now too, millennials and zillennials and some of Xers, that their entire identity is predicated, their psyche is predicated around a black female. And if the black female is gone, these niggas truly don't know who they are. Which is why they have that, like when Smurgo did that post on Facebook, where I still got the link, even them dudes were wilding out. Because them dudes will be emotionally, black people are used to a dad not being there at this point. If you remove the mom, see, the truth is, if you do that in every other community, it will have an impact, but it's not going to destroy the psyche. You'll destroy the psyche of these kids without the black woman, because that's how interchange it is. That's how matriarchal and gynocentric the black community has become. Black women's idea of protection is black men's life sacrifices, dying in there. Yeah, that is true. But my point is, the biggest point in this video is black men have choosable blind spots they choose to be blind about in order to accept a certain system of thought. And that's a choice. The Duke, black men don't fail at protecting, that's cap. Okay, first of all, dude, you don't stop coming in here and then just we don't know what's being talked about. Black men, well, I can't speak for non-diaspora blacks. I can't speak for blacks that are not in the ADOS community, because I don't know that. That's why I took that back. Black men don't protect the women in their life, because black men don't protect the women from the bad women in their life. They don't. But it's clear, Duke, you're gonna have to listen to it from the beginning, because this is the type of thing where you kind of gotta be a part of my channel where you understand where I'm getting at it. Otherwise, you're gonna see the title and get triggered. You can't protect somebody from someone if you believe fundamentally there's nothing that they can do that's incorrect. Antoine Fisher is sad. It is sad. Shout out to Denzel for getting that made. Shout out to Chief FB. The Gabby situation was another one. Shout out to Jaquan, Infinity Divinity. Or you're being gang stalked because they haven't trapped you with a baby yet. Yep. Black women should date out. They should date out. I'm in agreement with that, because they don't, because it's time to call their bluff. It's absolutely time to start calling their bluff. Black women definitely should date out. And black men, because black men need to remove this idea that black women don't date out because black men are like somehow forcing them to stay in the community. 14-year-old black boy equals man in court. 18-year-old black woman equals poor little baby. Absolutely. And this is where black people like to play games with people's mental and emotional shit. The reality is there's a whole bunch of, like, you got females that they're too young. Like, here's the truth. The truth is you can't say they're too young to make a decision. So here's the thing. So let's say, and I'm going to go here. I'm going all the way the fuck here. Let's say you're dealing with a female that's, let's say, 13 years old. And let's say the boy that, or not the man, the boy that is having sex with this 13-year-old girl is 14. 1 year age different. Now we know biology has stated that women, and everybody has said, and I grew up in hearing that women develop before men. So the reality is, see, what people like to do is people always like to make it's these older men, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so if you don't believe that this female is able to make an actual decision to have sex, that should go that. And I'm not trying to justify an older man dealing with a 13-year-old, but I'm highlighting a point. One of the arguments that is made is that a girl is not old enough to consent to sex. Well, that's with anybody. That means that's including with a female, with another female. That includes a male of their same age. Question. Let's say you're dealing with let's say you're dealing with a 14-year-old that he is very developed, meaning he is like 5'10" at 14 years old. And he's having sex with a 16-year-old female. And let's say that female doesn't even look developed. I'm not here. Y'all can have your opinions for what y'all want, but my point is the argument that a female doesn't know what she's doing, that's eliminated if you take the age out of it. Now, granted, of course, a man knows more about the consequences of sex and all of that, and a woman does is older. I'll give you that. But my point is, that's not where the majority of fucking is happening. It's not like these teenagers are not fucking if the motherfuckers that are like 18 and up just stay away from them. They're fucking, like, I argue 80% or 85 to 90% of the fucking is going on with them in their same age group. BGS just did a thing saying that females prefer men. They're in either 3 years older or 3 years younger than them. And when you're in high school, development happens at a lot of different ways depending on who you are. So if you just keep it within those groups, you know how it was when you're 18 years old or you're 17 years old. Because technically I was a senior. I turned 18 as a senior in November. So it was earlier in the school year. But if you're 17 years old and you're dealing with a freshman, okay, if you're dealing with a freshman at the beginning of the school year, that's a bitch straight up out of the 8th grade in middle school. Technically. Think about it. If they're in January, they're only 6 months removed from the 8th grade. Because the end of the school year, the year prior was June. So if you're 17 and you're a senior, you see how that works? You see how those dynamics work? But what people choose to do is they'll focus on, people going to the high school. People going to the high school with lollipops. Okay, well, what about the dudes that are 19 and 20 still in high school because they keep fucking flunking? Not thinking about, and it's not about me trying to be right. It's me I like to highlight all of the hidden spots, all of the shade areas. Shout out to Antisocial for the $5 super sticker. Shout out to Xander with a Z as well. Carino, my point is none of them have the ability to really consent. See, that and Kareem, what I want you to understand is it doesn't matter. If you're making the argument they are not old enough to consent, that is true even amongst each other. It's like you're saying sex is not the same thing with people of their own age. It's like you're saying you can't make a baby. If they're the same age, they can't make a baby. It's like you're saying if they it doesn't have the same mental impact. It doesn't have the same psychological impact. Well, similar. It's like you're saying it don't count. And so this is how I know people are taking all this crap and they're bringing it into what they feel. Because if this shit is true there, it's true here. And that's why I made that example of a dude that's a junior, 17 years old and a junior versus because I know people in my I had a couple of people that I knew. I wouldn't call them friends, but we were cool with each other. That they were like 2 years younger than me and they were in the same grade. Because they went into school early. So they're like 2 years younger than me. But they're in the same grade. And I was in the right grade, by the way. My point is when you're dealing with high school and it's 4 years, and we're not even talking about junior high school and in high school if that's all in the same building. We're talking about just 4 years because we have middle school in North Carolina. My point is those dynamics exist there. And this is why I keep telling y'all, when y'all look at social media pre-18, it's not no money in it. So it's a different social media because you don't really run ads with that because you're not going to get people that are buyers. But when you look at these females like on TikTok or on these YouTube shorts you're starting to see now, they're doing that for a lot of sexual shit they do on YouTube. They're doing shit in there. That's how Musically was. They're doing shit in people in their own age group. So it's now where we're on sex is okay because they're both the same age. Oh, it's okay that she's 14 and a train got ran on her because, the guys were 14 and 15. And I know that's not what you're saying, Kareem, so that's not what I'm saying. But my point is, a female being sexually active is an issue too early. Now, we're not even going to get into all of the steroids and the government cheese, all of the growth hormone in the food, which is causing these females to develop very early, earlier than what they generally would. We're not even going to get into that because that's a whole thing I could cover, which is why black women in the 70s and before are different than black women post the 80s. It's because of that government cheese bullshit, but that's a whole nother thing. My point is that old shit, we know these kids or these young people are not sexually active majorly with older people. We know that's not true. Or not older people like on some Glenn and Cameron shit. We generally, if you're going to focus on older people, you're looking at people that are like 22 to 23 to 25. If you're going to talk about who's dealing with when females that are seniors, which the truth is, if they over 18, it don't matter. It really don't. In these urban environments, that's generally what you're going to see if you see all of that. You're generally not going to see old men coming because that's too obvious, and that's something that's going to get, especially as black men, is going to get you hemmed up. You don't, which is why Glennon was talking about it that way, which everybody wowed out. And then when people want to say, oh, you're teaching somebody to be a predator. Okay, here's my thing. We all know a lot of the fast ass females were females that didn't have they were in single mother homes. And the truth is, I grew up, even if the dad wasn't there, a stepdad was there. So most of these female I'm talking about black females, I know they had some kind of father figure somewhere there in the immediate approximation. So again, it becomes okay because they're the same age. Sex is sex. Shout out to Isaiah Goodwin. I've been called high school seniors predators for messing with freshmen. I'm like, y'all want to make evil. Yeah, I've heard that too. And I didn't even bring that up. Because that's like, to me, a different kind. But like I was saying before, yes, there is a difference between a 15-year-old having sex with like a dude just like, you know, 22. That I'm not gonna say that's not like different because you're dealing with sexual experience, but that also works in reverse, where women age now. If you put a 14-year-old to the average 14-year-old to ask 14-year-old man to ask 14-year-old female active, that female has probably like multiple years of sexual experience over that dude. When you look at different dudes they've had sex with or how many times they've had sex, because they pretty have a control over, if they open their legs, there's some dick that's gonna find a way to find them. That's true for men. That's not true for most boys. So the reality is these women are actually more at the same age or way more sexually experienced women hunger for older dudes, which is why these chicks is 15, 16, and 17 are looking for dudes 3, 20, 24. This is why that is what that is, and we all know that is what that is. So we need to fucking cut the bullshit. I'm not here to say what's right. I'm here to tell you what it is. So you don't sit there letting these females go out. And this the reason I brought this up is protection. I'm giving you an outline how this shit goes down and how dudes come up with their own conclusions. So they their own conclusions and then what they want to focus on, because a part of protect the main, a lot of these misandrous laws get passed against men is because in the eyes of most, there is no such thing as overprotecting daughters. So they don't look at these laws, oh, these laws are being used to target men. They look at these laws where if these dudes are even in the proximity to do anything, they deserve to be punished. And so it basically creates this space where women can just lie, ass. And what it used to be is a society will hold women accountable socially, saying you're a slut. This is where these quote unquote double standards come, because it was designed to really reel back female sexual selection, a measure of their protection. Now you got stuff like the slut and all this stuff that tell women it's okay to be as sexually out there as possible, early as age is out there, teaching these girls that you can do shit talk and get free attention and free money. You don't see women, you see women doing the shit with daughters, or see women actively teaching their daughters how to do shit. This is the conversation that nobody wants to have. So what they do is they default to, oh, that's bad, aka R. Kelly, aka Bill Cosby, aka Glendon Cameron. And then women are just supposed to be out there. What they doing to men, they're corrupting younger females. Yes, you can hold them accountable, Kareem. Kareem said that 18 and 14 is the same age, though. You cannot hold them accountable like you can a 25-year-old and a 13-year-old. I didn't say you should. I never said that. I never suggested that. I never implied that. But my point is, so you're saying you can't hold them accountable in the same way. That's not the point. It's not the point. Because what you keep saying, hold them accountable. So you're saying that it's pretty much, oh, if your daughter is out there getting trains ran through by other dudes of their age, all of a sudden you're not going to do shit? Is that what you're saying? That's okay now? And I say that like that because that actually is low happens. You can't hold them legally accountable, but that's not the point. That's not the point. Because most of sex is not being had by 25-year-old fucking 14 year. That's not where most of the happening at anyway. So again, it's like we want to establish nothing's a problem here to say it's only a problem there. The very fact that that conversation can't even be had is retarded. Because when you're in those how you are in those age groups will forever define who you are sexually. You don't get over that. A lot of folks today are defined by the sexual experiences they had in their teenage years. It doesn't if it was the person that was their same age. That's my point. Yeah, from a legal standpoint, you're right. But that's not what I was talking about. What I is from a social norm standpoint. I don't know need for no black man version because number one, ain't no black man gonna watch a black man version. So it's no point even bringing that up. I mean, my only issue with Eve start talking about that. I mean, for the most part, Eve is wrong because Eve, for the most part, kept her mouth shut. So when I say kept her mouth shut, most part Eve ain't out here like talking shit. Damn, we talk about billionaire and multimillionaire, but okay. Well, that's flip cool. I'm talking about yeah, Quentin Jackson. That is some bullshit. It is. What's up, Quentin? I don't know what y'all talk about with Big. Don't cap. If a billionaire white woman was meant you wanted to marry you, you wouldn't be marrying her in a heartbeat. Karina, Karen McKenzie, Bezos' second husband, married her he was poor teacher. I mean, but he married her. He probably generally liked her. Let's be clear here. Mackenzie Bezos was like like technically, arguably, Mackenzie just off the strength of her looks could probably do better than the dude. That's not saying a lot, but just the strength of her looks could probably do better than that dude. Just the strength of her looks. So that ain't really saying much. I don't know what y'all talk about with these fucking celebrities. Y'all having y'all own conversation, which is fine. No, I mean she could do better than him just off the strength of her looks, and they're much better. But that also shows you the value she has of being in an actual relationship. That actually says a lot about her. The truth is, a lot of females would just took that money and be out here on the 304. So that actually does say a lot about her. And she throw a lot of money at black. Now I don't know what black female causes, but I do know she throw a lot of money at black people. So she only gonna get shit talk from me, cause she bought her way out of that. If she gonna take money and transfer it to some black causes, she doing better than most. Woo! But anyway, like I was saying, man, I don't mean to relitigate that, but that's my point. My point is, gonna really act like these fucking females are not out here fucking unless it's some north of 21-year-old dude mining the high schools. That's bullshit. No, that's bullshit. That's not here to justify anything. It's to say like, oh, creating the women you complain about. No, these hoes are created. These little bitches are formed in high school and sometimes earlier than high school. That's the truth, and that's what nobody really wants to talk about because again, y'all fuckers don't know what to do. They don't. Men, women thinking the shit's okay because they want to be hoes forever, and the dudes they really are carried. Y'all talk about some Mackenzie Bezos shit, but yeah, but it's my point though. My point is black men fail to protect because black men have spots that they've chosen to adopt that usually they get from women. And so that's on them for choosing to perpetuate and adopt those mindsets. This is why men choose to lie and they choose to cover shit up so each generation got to figure it out. Now y'all are seeing that that's pretty much impossible to do now. And also because now you're dealing for a couple of reasons. Impossible to do because of social media. It's to do because you're seeing too much concussive effects of this bullshit. So you can't just hide it. And now the millennials are also not lying. Z's. And then the Xers, it's forcing a lot more of the Xers to have to be honest going on too. So all of the cocktail of, well, you have it, what we have today. This has been great. Appreciate the super chat. To see anybody hit me up on the Cash App. I always be ending and be low key forgetting. All right, I'll check out. Like I said, I've been putting up some really good classics in the Patreon. Some exclusive content will be shortly on that. Tried that Panera Bread flatbread pizza. It's alright. It's alright. It ain't worth no $10 fucking. White people prices. I'm like, yo, I can pay for Pizza Hut for $5. I get all that breadsticks for $5. I shouldn't be eating this shit, but yeah. But you know, it's Panera though. It's for white people though. Yeah, I'm probably gonna cancel my Disney Plus membership. Nothing on there. Come in the next couple of months. Panera is white people prices. I went to Panera because I wanted to get, tomato soup. Black people Panera though. Black people, a lot more black people at Panera than you think. Fuck. I usually either get the turkey chili or I get the tomato. I got the arugula, the steak and arugula I get too. Disney Plus, when they have their show, I'll get it because I ain't trying to burn shit. AT&T is getting me too many letters, so I can't risk another one. If you see a black person in Panera, it's because they trying to eat healthy, but they still want to get fast food. That's generally why you're going to see a black man in Panera. It's like, well, I want to eat, so I might as well take my ass here. No, I know that, but most websites are always getting canceled. I got that shit. When it comes to my sports shit, I got that shit. I'll probably hook y'all on to that because there's one in the Discord. Well, I mean, the Mandalorian ain't out yet. But we got a lot of that premium shit here. We got a lot. It's like what PDQ, Five Guys, which is a burger place. PDQ, like I ain't even gone there. Panera, Chop. I go to Chop more than anything else. A salad place. I may do a video streaming me come out of there, but now at this point, I can just get the app, get them to make the salad. They make a big bowl of salad, like really big. So it's like, let's say you trying to get in your vegetables, and then it's really good. It's really good how they do what they do. And it's very easy. It's actually profitable too. Go in there. I just do the app and pick it up. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, when it was coming out, yeah. But even then, I'm gonna keep it real with you. If you're someone say as far as cutting the cord, if you don't need, like for instance, even a lot of this DCCW shit, it's like, yo, like I can wait for the season and then go ahead and binge it. That's what I'm gonna start getting in the habit of doing. Making it a good weekend and just binging at some shit or, breaking it down. I know the Blacklist, but having this shit just to be having it for one show, that got me with Paramount Plus. You got Star Trek Lower Decks, so they're gonna try to come out. I'm like, nah, man, I'm gonna go in and just get it. The money is not enough to where it really matters, but man, I still got real cable too. I wanted to see Dune in the movie theaters, but I'm not risking when I can see that shit in HBO. I'm just not. I literally on my iPad. No, I could tell it was better on Max because I could tell with some of the sounds and stuff I was hearing. We got not really two IMAXs. I ain't driving all the way for that. But Dune was good. Like I said, that was oh god, how you had no black females in this bitch? Ed's cable bill. No, I'm out. Yeah, Ed's cable. Actually, my cable bill, like technically it's supposed to go up. My cable bill, when you look at if you so I pay what $9 for Netflix. Technically, I split Netflix though with my brother. So $5 for Netflix, $9 for Disney Plus, $7 for Paramount, and then I pay technically, Amazon Prime. I got Amazon Prime because I'm shit, but I also get, so you could throw that in there, and then but I'm gonna have Amazon Prime anyway. And then cable bill is technically so technically my cable bill is 100. It's $110, and then add what I just added, and that's with my internet too. So my internet is like 55, and then my cable is like 60. I'm talking about with everything. So probably with everything, I'm probably paying like 140, 150, and out of that we split it. So probably I'm only paying like 125 a month, which is not bad. I have like 800. Like I literally get upload speeds of like 700-800 megabytes per second. Well, I have actually multiple. I actually have multiple sources of income. I don't even have my monetization on this channel. I haven't. That's why y'all don't see a lot of ads on my channel. So I haven't even turned that on. That's what I'm trying to, because really the way I do my channel really big on monetization. So I said I might as well. That's why I'm gonna start doing more uploads. So I have multiple sources of income. She literally paid for me to go watch it in the movies. Green, go watch it in the movie. I think it's like what, one more weekend, two more weekends. I still haven't seen uh fucking No Time to Die. No, I haven't seen Why the Last Man. I've been not getting into shows because if I get in, I don't like. I used to watch a lot, and now that the shows that I've watched are kind of dying out, I wanted to take that opportunity and kind of wean myself off of that shit. But then I'm watching a lot of YouTube, but I do shit by looking at it 2 times the playback speed, so I can kind of deal with my focus. A lot of the shows, like the DC stuff, I haven't watched like that. Blacklist, so I'll see that. Young Justice, I see that, but that's just 22 minutes. So I make sure I minimize that. So I actually need to get back into reading more too. Well, my phone bill is cheap. My phone bill is like $40 a month. So I make up for stuff with other stuff. Well, I mean, it's a certain type, like what they broke down with Dune is they said had Dune had like 70% males. It was like 70% males, white males that saw it. It was like saying male. So it was a whole bunch of white males that saw it. And Dune is really not. Yeah, Dune isn't for everybody. But I think, yeah, it's not. It's not. So you have to appreciate. And then the reason it's boring is because Dune is like honestly, Infinity War could have been like that, but they made it its own movie. Dune is like the big half of a movie, so it's gonna be boring as fuck because of the way the act is. So if they make a second one, the second one should be more heavy. It should be more heavy and shit. And in the story. Now I'm not a Dune. Look, man, I'm not a Dune. I had to go to some channels. It's this bitch called Nerd Cookies. I ain't gonna front. It's this female, and I like particularly how she describes it. So I've been, going through her channel, watching all of the, like, getting really under the characters and stuff. Because she does it in like 12 minutes, going through every character, going through the history and the lore. Because I like that to game myself up on stuff, talking about everything, interests. Okay, appreciate that because I like supporting brothers. So, and I saw his stuff. Maybe his thumbnails didn't speak to me. But Nerd Cookies is good. If y'all like Jessica X, y'all probably like Nerd Cookies. Y'all niggas like Miss Our voice shit. Quinn Ideas videos are longer though, but I'll probably check his out just because you said that. Appreciate. Um, because I'll probably start sharing him more because if I'm a somebody. Dune is not sea level Star Wars. Don't say that, because Star Wars is more based. Star Wars is based on Dune. He didn't just steal the idea, he built on it. He took Dune, he dumbed it down. Dumbed it down. And this is why Star Wars is worth what it's worth. Dune, you gotta remember, he made you gotta remember, Star Wars was made 77. Star Wars was made 77, 80, and 83. Dune was made a year after that. So after Star Wars established the market, they made Dune. The problem with Dune, and if anything, if you actually look at the 1984 Dune, and I actually have that VHS tape, that's because my mom has it. Like in my mom's house, she got all of it. Like all of I got a whole wall of VHS tapes. And I never saw Dune finish because I always saw it in clips because I'm like, what the fuck is she watching? So, but if you actually look at it like that, that would new appreciation for the genius that was George Lucas as far as putting the stuff on screen. Because they was both made in the same at the same. It's just Star Wars is much more accessible. And by the way, he drew a lot of Dune didn't have a lot of laser stuff. Obviously Star Wars laser heavy with less melee. Star Wars doesn't have personal shields, but he didn't have that because that probably wouldn't have been practical on screen. So let's keep that. Let's keep Dune Star Wars is not a copy of Dune. And George Lucas pulled from a lot of explorations, but I would say it is very heavily inspired by it. The truth is, people want to make it like a woman can't lead. The truth is, problem is, she doesn't understand what her role is. Her role not to make Star Wars in the image that favors women. Her role a steward. That's why George Lucas trusted her. Because he trusted her to be of the franchise. Now, if you want to say women need to be highlighted more, there was a way to do that in a way that would have been organic and that made sense. Honest, if you did a movie about Princess Leia, people would see it. This day, the most successful Star Wars movie in the new era is Rogue One. And for the most part, that's led by a woman. He says that. So when people and this is the thing why I have a problem with that. Or not what you said, Kareem, but I'm talking about with the general idea to say that it's because men are like women. Yo, our video games and our comic books or TV or cartoons, I was more of a cartoon guy. I didn't really see. That's why I lean to YouTube more. I didn't read comic books. I may have saw Barnes and Noble a couple of times, open shit up, but I never what's the next comic or into all that. But all of that had women featured. And we could argue as far as the storylines, fine, but it wasn't as bad as people make it out to be. Just like Rebecca Ferguson was out here talking about didn't you basically updated Lady Jessica's character, which is actually not true because the way the character is actually written, in the book is saying, but see that's that bullshit. But she don't know. And then just like with Captain, so the point is, there's a difference between showing women and then trying to produce this propaganda that women can do anything that boys can do, but at the same time, if a man puts his hand on a woman, now you're evil and you can't ever come back from that. But women, this double standard in real life versus the images these women are shown. Like there's a lot of things, like dudes still want Storm. There's a lot of things that could have been put out there. But that's not what the goal was. What people did was they wanted to terraform the society by this basically female supremacy shit, which is really just a way of dousing masculinity. That's really all it is. And why in white masculinity, these rich people want to douse it is because that makes them more killable. Anyway. I did not, Kareem. I did not hate her performance. I'm a fan of Rebecca Ferguson. I didn't even realize that was her, like the character. I like everything she's in. I actually like Rebecca Ferguson a lot. Rebecca Ferguson said what she said. It's clear she did not read the book. From what everybody's saying, it sounds, because the reason why people are saying that is because they're saying, oh, it's clear you didn't read the book, because the way you describe how the character is spot on in the movie, but you don't understand that that was in the book too. And that's how her portrayal. You don't even got to read the book. All you really got to do is watch shows is based on and see that's the consistent thing. Now, I'm assuming because it was done in the 80s, it had to come out a certain way, but that's even not true. Because sci-fi in general has always been known for being, it's always been, I hate to use that term, but it's always been. For instance, Leia. This is a character written, the movie came out in the 70s, so meaning it was like probably 74, 75, and you saw the movie in 77, talking about the original Star Wars. That is a progressive character. That is, if you look at where that time is, that is a very progressive character. And what they did in the 80s is because they was like, okay, we've established her as this quote unquote very independent, resilient woman. This woman did his all his BS. So yeah, we can kind of live a little and put her in the costume. We can do a little bit of that because we've already established her strength of character. And then when you look at why she did it, she was in the costume because she tried to save somebody she loved. Not being which is what, is that not flip of the damsel in distress? Han Solo was in distress. And people forget how much older Han Solo was. People forget that. When everybody want to come with this bullshit, how old was Harrison Ford versus technically at the time, Leia would have been what, 19, 20? I'm talking about what they were supposed to be in the story, and Harrison Ford was probably like mid 30s. That's how it was supposed. That's how it was. So my point is, she went to save him, and then she got caught, and that happened in Jabba like that was gonna happen. They did the same thing with the Blitz. It's just he did it with her, saying, all right. So it wasn't like it was forced. And then what did she end up doing? She ended up choking him with that fucking chain. Saying, basically penalizing him for humiliating her like that. Using that same chain to choke it. Which you would have never understood why she would have had that motivation. He wouldn't have humiliated her like that. Well, yeah, probably that's true, Black Hoover, from what I've seen, from the clips I've seen. At the same time, I think the way that you got to remember, different things are covered in the first in the 84 version versus what this version is. She's designed to be non-existent. Because you didn't see Emperor either. And because her role is the truth sayer of the Emperor, had no reason to be there. That scene with the box is iconic. So she had to be there, and it also established who these people were and kind of like gives you constant in the dreams. But she has no reason to be in the story in any other way side of you don't really see the Bene Gesserit really being really truly brought up. Because Leto talked to her about it, saying, I've always trusted you, even did that bullshit, which is really like, look, you gave me a son where I know enough of just to know y'all couldn't have did that, and the chances are you weren't supposed to do that. So the truth is, Lady Jessica did low-key earn his trust. Because he knew he was, the Emperor didn't get no sons. The Emperor got all daughters. So that tells you they don't care. So technically, she earned his trust. And that's why when he said, oh, I'm asking a Bene Gesserit, not his mother. I'm like, yo, it's funny. It's funny how this just to show you the kind that Lady Jessica had. Lady Jessica was about to answer it, and then she thought about it. She said, where you get these thoughts from? That's how you know you got somebody wrapped right there. If a female ever the thoughts that I'm giving, I'm not gonna wild out. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, this motherfucker thinks she in control. It's like, it's a meme out there that if you put your hands, you pit a woman against let's say a woman do something, let's say like that chick with Shannon, the video Shannon, And let's say that dude pinned her against the wall and slammed her against the wall, and then with his hands on her throat, and then you hear boom, and then she starts smiling. And then it's a meme that says, that's how you know you're not in control. I'm like, if I ever were to do that and then that female just starts smiling, yeah, it's over. The relationship's over right there. I'm leaving. Because that's a female that will kill me. That's a female that will do anything. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna like wipe off my hands against my shirt. And I'll be like, you know what? This has been real. This is my fault. I got too deep in this. I'm out. No, what? You a bitch? Yep, I'm gonna be a bitch ass nigga because I'm gonna be a bitch ass nigga than dead. I'm gonna be all that, but I'm still out. I'm done. That's how it was. That's kind of remind me because she was like, "Why are you having these thoughts?" Like, wow, yeah, that's who's in control, and he fell for that too. This is a duke, and he's like, well, you know, blah, blah, blah. Because at the end of the day, he's going to always default to, she gave me a son, and so she didn't have to do that. And that's why in the end, and I'm sorry, if y'all ain't seen it, fuck you. It's on HBO Max, so I really give no fucks. At the end, before he died, the last conversation they had, he looked at it and said, I should have married you. Understand the reason why he didn't marry her was not because I said he said, shout out to Oscar Isaacs. He played the hell out of role. But it was because she didn't want him to get married so he could have the opportunity to marry someone that would amplify the house. So it had nothing to do, like the concubine term is really just what they called it. But it doesn't really reflect that all she was like a fuck toy. That wasn't what it was. And you see that throughout, even with how Poe was with Chidi, you see that reflected. Marriage is really more political usually. More so than it really has to do with who you really want to be with or have kids with. But Jaquan, that's how it was written though. It wasn't meant to be like, and I think that was an issue. It's like the problem is he was taken out so easily. I don't know. I wish he would have. I don't know. But if you would have did something too different, you would have deviated. Yeah, Black Huru, he never married her because she did not want him to marry her. Let's be clear here. Because you got to remember, her coming from the Bene Gesserit, her job was not to marry him because she was going to get a kid out of him regardless. That was done. But in order to amplify the power of the house, which benefits the Bene Gesserit, they left that slot in case somebody else wanted to marry. But Leto probably was like, I'm not marrying nobody else. Bitch, you the one I want. But he probably understood that from a political standpoint, so he respected it. But everybody around there knew she was treated as if she was that. Nobody disrespected her. She wasn't like, you need to know it was none of that. It was none of that. So all that lady this and concubine, that stuff is by word only, so you understand this is not a political wife. Because in that lore, you got motherfuckers that would marry their own sister and then be like, no, they not fucking. They just married because they ain't trying to share power with nobody else. Like somebody where they'll marry their own people and turn around and they'll have their concubine, which is who they really having kids with. It's kind of like if you have multiple wives, and it's like, rather than calling them multiple wives, because that's a position. Because see, only the men can actually lead these places. There is no empress. That's why in the later on, her other daughter, her youngest daughter, can only be a regent. The dudes are the only ones that can really occupy power, like officially. So for that point, if you only have daughters, technically, if a dude comes in and marries your daughter, he is the higher status. It ain't like that Prince Henry bullshit. That's not how that works. Well, hey, that's what happens later on with other people. I'm not going to get into all of that, but that's what happens later on with other people as a political marriage. But they're not fucking at all. They're not fucking, they're not kissing, they're not putting any kind of like there is no displays of affection. And you see stuff like that even with Like certain, like let's say they're normal relationships. You literally see the female that dude is having sex with and having kids with right there. It's just that's an official title position. That's how that's looked at in this story. I'm not saying you should agree with it. I'm just saying it's not in the first book. It's down the road. Yeah, Kareem. And she didn't give him a boy because he wanted one. She gave him a boy because she actually loved him. The fact that Paul is a male is really supposed to be, if you understand the Bene Gesserit, the fact is that is a sign of her loyal her. It shows that Lady Jessica has to balance multiple things, but it's kind of like Anakin Skywalker and kind of the Jedi, except you could have a relationship, but it was frowned upon. It wasn't like you're not supposed to and you could get in trouble. It's that balancing act you have to do. And so her giving him a male is really supposed to be a sign of how much she loved him. Because she could still love him and still give him a girl, and there was really nothing he could do about it. But she loved him that much that she gave him what he wanted. Because usually that don't mean shit. And that's why when that bitch came in there, they needed to communicate, the Reverend Mother, they needed to communicate quickly. Like, I don't give a fuck if he your son. You know what time it is, and you know what I fucking told you to do. That's why she was out here crying. And see, another thing that the Reverend Mother doesn't understand too, which is what she checked the board. She didn't know that until after the fact when she, I think, I may be missing it up, but I think she told us also, you've been teaching him some of this shit too? Okay, so I'm about to turn this shit up higher than what I normally turn it up. Rather than get the belt, I'm getting the extension cord. Because I'm going to test the shit out of this motherfucker. You should have had a fucking bell. That's why she was like, oh shit. And that's why that doctor was like, man, you need to remember your training. Because this bitch is about to test your ass. And then that's why she was like, well, goddamn, she said it after the box thing, where she was like, wow, that's more than anybody. So that's more than anybody ever took. So it's meant to show you that he's been tested harder than any of these other females have been tested. Then she kind of calmed the hell down and asked him, all right, well, clearly I'm not going to kill you. So fuck. So tell me about these dreams. All right, you passed the test. And then he told her, at first he didn't want to say nothing. Because remember, when he first got in there, and she's talking about, you gonna talk to my mom like that? He didn't even respond. She just put the voice on his ass, like the real voice on his ass. And then she's like, you dare use that shit up? It's like, nigga, you don't understand the dynamic of this situation. When she probably was like, yeah, he about to be dead because he don't understand who the fuck I am. So she'd have told her all and taught him about our ways that these niggas are not supposed to know. Yet what she didn't tell him is who the fuck I am. Okay. And then that's what she said, put your hand in the box. What is it? Pain. You about to find the fuck out. And then after all of that, she was like, all right, fine. Tell me about, that's when she went to psychologist mode. Tell me about these dreams. Do they sometimes happen? Oh, well, sometimes they do. Oh, well, nigga, you ain't shit. Get the fuck out of here. And then she said, he may be the nigga, but we got other prospects. But bitch, you still fucked up. And then that's when he snuck in behind her when she turned around. And he was like, man, that bitch. Because she like, tell me about this shit. And that's why later on at the end of the movie, when he had that voice thing that caused her to pop back real quick, because even though, he loves his mother, he's like, you goddamn freak, you bitch, fuck. He pulled that Anakin. She even looked at him like, oh shit, he may tell me, man, kill yourself in that voice, because he was mad. Because he was like, all this bullshit you got me going through, and you ain't tell me shit. But I like how that role was to be played, because her role had to be passive. She has to be passively active. And that's not easy for a lot of women today to play. Rebecca Ferguson is Swedish, if I'm not understanding. Yeah, I think Denis Villeneuve he's not a he's a dramatic person, but he's not a dramatic person. He's not a dramatic person. And in the 80s, everything was more exaggerated. So I think he goes under subtlety because subtlety is more artsy. The thing about like that's the comparing like a good compare, you got to compare like Michael Bay and Stephen Villeneuve is like two his name is are like polar opposites. They're like polar opposites, even though they do big budget films. Yeah, she is. I like the minimalism too because it gives it more of a feel. But you'll see it in the part two because they announced that they did part two. I'm a type of person where I'm more character based. I can deal with character interactions. I don't need a lot of action all the time because that's what people are complaining about with Young Justice. People are complaining it's not action oriented, but I can deal with the character shit. But if you're not somebody where you need the action to fill it out, which doesn't make you a better or worse person, it's just preference. Then yeah, you might have a problem with it because yeah, it was more dramatic. Because if you notice and then here's the thing, it's more dramatic than it is in the trailer. Because in the trailer, they give that sound we have you think that's what it is. So it goes from like 1, 2, and then 10. So it makes it more intense. But it wasn't like a gradual increase. And he never really screamed. Whatever. His name is what the fuck I say his name is. But Dennis Villeneuve. Okay. So I'll say Dennis. Yes, I know that, and that's why I'm pretty happy. I've seen Aqualad. I'm mad they did that shit. That shit pissed me off. That shit made me mad. And I'm not gonna lie, in the New Young Justice, they try to do some trans shit. They try to use think I don't notice that shit. They try to do a Miss Martian. Oh, my human form is how I really feel. And I don't have like shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear that shit. They're trying to use the Miss Martian Superboy shit as like a trans thing. And I'm like, oh God. Yeah, it's Denis. It's not Dennis. I knew it wasn't Dennis. Like, nigga. No, they say it's straight gay. They didn't leave it open to buy. All right, y'all. I gave y'all 2 hours. We ended it on some. I might actually cut this part out and make this video like a review of my of the Doom. But so if y'all see this part cut out, don't worry. But I'm not gonna delete this video or anything. Yeah, it is what it is. He is gay. He's gay too in the Eternals. Which is probably one reason why I'm gonna wait for that to come on straight. I'm probably not gonna see that in the movies. I'm not supporting that bullshit. They're always pushing that shit. Everybody's always pushing that shit. And then they make little Boosie look stupid. Nah, bro, that's gay, bro. That's gay. I don't think Aqualad was always gay. But anyway, y'all, this has been great. Very good stream. With that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.